I had some injuries.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're looking at the most prominent celebrities who stepped away from the spotlight after facing life-altering events beyond their control.
Why quit acting?
It was important for my recovery at the time. It represented my mom living vicariously through me.
Mena Suvari. Mena Suvari rose to fame in the late 90s and early aughts with standout performances in American Beauty and the American Pie franchise.
Not bad, Chris.
Really? Thanks, Heather, right?
Yeah.
But while it seemed like she was on the verge of superstardom, Suvari quietly faded from the spotlight by the end of the decade. The reason for this became clear in 2021 when Suvari published her memoir, The Great Peace.
You describe in your memoir as living a double life.
I was just like catapulted
Into fame.
I didn't even really know what fame was. It wasn't something that I had ever wanted for myself.
In it, she disclosed that she had been dealing with the effects of sexual assault and substance use disorder. At the height of her Hollywood fame, she was trapped in an emotionally toxic relationship and turned to drugs to cope. These challenges deeply affected her career and sadly held her back from reaching her full potential in Hollywood.
I had to learn to trust in myself, trust in the process. I had to do the work to listen, to open myself up.
Sly Stone. As the genius behind Sly and the Family Stone, Sly Stone helped trailblaze funk music. Throughout the 60s, the group earned a string of top 10 hits, which brought Stone fame, and soon, he was living the high life in Beverly Hills. But as the 70s rolled around, Stone and his bandmates grappled with substance use issues, which hindered their ability to record and perform.
By the 80s, the band had basically disintegrated, and Sly Stone himself was occasionally seen offstage, as in this 1983 court appearance on a cocaine possession charge.
As a result, the band dissolved and Stone was forced into retirement. Unfortunately, things only worsened. By 2009, he had gone from living in a mansion to crashing in cheap hotels and eventually ending up in his van. Nevertheless, in 2011, he made a comeback with his second solo album, I'm Back, Family and Friends. Jennette McCurdy. At her peak, Jennette McCurdy was one of the most recognizable child actors on television, thanks to her role as Sam Puckett on Nickelodeon's iCarly and Sam and Cat.
You look like Sam from that web show iCarly.
Nah, that chick's way hotter than me.
She is, Sam. Whoa! You're awesome!
Yeah.
But after the latter ended, McCurdy seemingly dropped from the face of the earth. In reality, she was dealing with the trauma inflicted by her mother, who pushed her into acting and controlled her life with an iron grip.
In many ways, your mother tried to keep you a child.
Yeah, I think my mom wanted to keep me as controllable as possible. I think she really wanted to have her influence on me, and me growing up was a threat to that.
She allegedly subjected her daughter to sexual and emotional assault and contributed to her developing disordered eating. Following her mother's passing in 2013, McCurdy took a break from acting and ultimately walked away from the industry completely. She opened up about her experience in her best-selling 2022 memoir, I'm Glad My Mom Died.
I think I've chosen a path of integrity. And it hasn't always been easy.
Eliza Dushku. A quick scan through this actress's filmography will reveal that she hasn't starred in any films or TV shows since 2017.
I transferred from Los Angeles. Your school has no gymnastics team. This is a last resort. Okay, so I've never cheered before, so what?
This is especially surprising given that Eliza Dushku had a promising career in the late 90s and 2000s, owing to her role as Faith in the Buffyverse. Dushku's disappearance stemmed from an incident on the set of the CBS legal drama Bull.
I have no way of knowing that. And besides, that's not the issue.
In 2017, she landed what was expected to be a regular role, only to be fired after just 3 episodes. This reportedly happened because she informed producers she was being sexually harassed by lead actor Michael Weatherly. Following these revelations, CBS paid Dushku a $9.5 million settlement, the estimated salary she would have earned had she stayed on the show.
The network agreed this year to pay Dushku a confidential settlement of $9.5 million, roughly the amount she would have earned as a series regular. 8 months later, when CBS investigators approached her, she allegedly told them, "My story is true, and it's really affected me."
Amanda Bynes. For anyone who grew up watching Nickelodeon, Amanda Bynes is a name you know quite well. Bynes broke out with the sketch series All That, before landing her own spin-off, The Amanda Show.
My name's Amanda, and I contain 18 essential vitamins and minerals!
At one point, it seemed she had successfully sidestepped the child star curse, transitioning smoothly into mature roles with films like Hairspray and Easy A. However, in 2010, Bynes announced she was taking an indefinite hiatus from acting.
This is sort of her wanting to tell her story, kind of close a chapter that was difficult, move on, and start the next phase of her life and career.
What followed was a whirlwind of legal troubles, mostly related to substance use. By 2013, she had been placed in a conservatorship overseen by her parents. Although she later stopped taking drugs and announced an expected return to acting, that comeback never materialized. Thora Birch. Thora Birch was once the epitome of the antisocial teenager, with her performances in the critically acclaimed films American Beauty and Ghost World.
Where are you gonna go to college?
We're not.
Really? Both of you? Why not?
Just because.
Yeah, we made other plans.
These roles earned her rave reviews and set her on a path to becoming a top-tier character actor. But as the years went by, Birch slipped further and further away from the spotlight, to a great extent due to her father and then manager. His poor behavior with the cast and crew of her projects cost her work opportunities, including an off-Broadway production of Dracula, from which she was fired just days before opening. Following a self-imposed hiatus during which she earned a degree in legal studies, Birch returned to acting and is slowly reclaiming her lost status. Jet Li. It's hard to picture modern Chinese and Hong Kong cinema without Jet Li. The martial arts legend revitalized wuxia films in the industry and pulled off a successful crossover into Hollywood in the late 90s. Although Li dominated action films for years, his on-screen appearances sharply declined after the early 2010s. Rumors even began swirling that he had died. In truth, Li was impeded by hyperthyroidism, a condition causing weight loss and fatigue, which made his work as an action star even harder. This, in addition to his focus on philanthropy, kept Li out of the spotlight for most of the decade. However, he returned to Hollywood in 2020, starring as the Emperor of China in Disney's Mulan.
The people owe you a debt of thanks. I owe you my life. In gratitude for your service and dedication, I invite you to take your place with our greatest decorated warriors.
Brendan Fraser. In 2023, Brendan Fraser won his first ever Oscar for his performance in The Whale.
Does her mom know about this?
I just wanted to see her. Mary has kept her from me all this time.
Why do you suddenly need to see her so bad? Why now?
Liz.
This was the culmination of a much-publicized comeback for the actor after years of relative inactivity. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, Fraser was practically Hollywood's go-to guy for adventure blockbusters. But by the end of that era, his face had become scarce for a number of reasons.
I did step out of the spotlight for a spell there to sort some things out in my life, to take stock of who I am, where I'm going, and what my aspirations are.
Fraser not only went through a bitter divorce, but he lost his mother and suffered various health problems stemming from his earlier stunt work. To make things worse, he was allegedly blacklisted after accusing the former president of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association of sexual assault. Despite the odds, he pulled off an epic comeback, fondly dubbed the Brenaissance.
I'd like to take advantage of all of that sauce at the moment to pursue projects that make me feel like I really care about the whale.
Rick Moranis. Canadian actor Rick Moranis was a comedic powerhouse throughout the 80s, starring in classics like Ghostbusters and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
I don't believe this. What a day.
In 1986, Moranis married makeup designer Ann Belsky, but she tragically passed away from cancer 5 years later, leaving him to raise their 2 children alone. Although Moranis still appeared in a few more films afterwards, he had a hard time juggling single parenthood with the hectic demands of Hollywood. As a result, in 1997, he took a hiatus from acting and stopped appearing in live-action projects. In 2020, it was reported that Moranis would return to the big screen in a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids sequel, but the project was put on hold indefinitely.
I still believe that there's an audience for an actual sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I happen to think that Rick Moranis is one of the greatest actors and comedians of all time. I am desperate to bring him out of retirement, so never say never.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Bridget Fonda. Growing up in the legendary Fonda acting dynasty, Bridget Fonda certainly had some hefty expectations to meet.
Ma'am, look, this isn't some kind of fact-finding expedition.
Yes, I know that.
It's not a science trip.
Could you be a little more condescending? Because I'm not real great with subtlety.
And for a while, she seemed to rise to the challenge. Throughout the late 80s and 90s, Fonda snapped up acting roles left and right, including in notable films like The Godfather Part 3 and Jackie Brown.
Really?
Hi. Later.
I'm impressed.
In 2003, she was set to join the cast of the legal series The Practice for a recurring role, but a serious car accident just weeks before filming left her with a fractured back. Although she made a full recovery, that incident seemed to close the curtains on Fonda's acting career. Shortly after, she married film composer Danny Elfman and has kept a low profile ever since.
Any chance that you make a move back?
I don't think so. It's too nice being a civilian.
What other tragic situations have kept celebrities away from the spotlight? Let us know in the comments below.